3:17 a.m. Every phone in Bellwether rang from a number assigned to the church bell that had been underwater since 1974. Case file TER 620000. The Twilight Registry opened this entry after local authorities submitted a reel-to-reel tape sealed in a tackle box, 3 witness statements, and a request that the object be returned before sunrise. The request was denied. Nothing that arrives sealed, labeled, and already warm is ever returned without first being asked what it remembers. The first witness described the event as ordinary, until the ordinary parts began repeating. A kitchen clock clicked backward. A dog barked from inside a wall. A woman made coffee and discovered the pot filling with rainwater. By the time the registry arrived, the town had settled into the tense silence that follows a disaster everyone has rehearsed, but no one has survived. The artifact was catalogued on a steel table under white light. It left a damp mark shaped like a hand. Not a human hand exactly. The fingers were too patient, too evenly spaced, as if made by someone who had studied a person from across a dark room and decided the important thing was not accuracy, but recognition. The moment the evidence bag was opened, every bulb in the intake room dimmed, and a voice spoke from a device with no power. It said, "We kept your place." That sentence is the hinge of this case. Every later event turns on it. The witness did not hear a threat. She heard hospitality. She heard chairs being scraped back from a long table. She heard dishes being set out for guests who had been expected for years. The body often knows before the mind admits it. Her hands began to shake. Her teeth hurt. She said the air smelled like wet wool and extinguished candles. Investigators mapped the anomaly through small details. Milk soured in sealed cartons. Family photographs developed additional figures in the background, all turned away. A county map showed a road that no surveyor admitted drawing. Following that road led the field team to the center of the disturbance, where grass bowed inward in a perfect circle, and the soil breathed once every 13 seconds. The registry does not use the word haunting when hunger is more precise. Haunting suggests residue. This was appetite with manners. It knocked before entering. It used familiar voices. It waited until a person answered, then made a copy of the answer and stored it somewhere below ordinary perception. The copies accumulated. In recordings, they became a murmur, like a crowd praying underwater. By the third night, residents reported seeing lit windows in empty buildings. Through the glass were rooms they recognized from childhood: a grandmother's kitchen, a hospital waiting area, the hallway outside a classroom where something humiliating had once happened. Each room contained a chair. Each chair faced the viewer. Each chair was pulled back just far enough to invite surrender. Senior Registrar Vale ordered a containment line drawn at the old municipal boundary. The line held for 46 minutes. Then the boundary signs rotated in their posts to face inward, as if the town itself had changed its mind about where it ended. A deputy crossing the line vanished from the waist down for 4 seconds. When he reappeared, his boots were full of lake mud, though the nearest lake was miles away. He resigned before giving a second statement. The recovered material includes one clean exchange between Agent Mora and the phenomenon. Mora asked what it wanted. The answer came through 3 radios, a baby monitor, and the fillings in her molars. It said, "Attendance." Mora asked whose attendance. Every door in town opened 1 inch. This is when the case became active loss probable. The registry evacuated those who would leave. Not all did. Some residents insisted the voices were loved ones. Some said the rooms behind the lit windows were better than the rooms they had. One elderly man walked calmly into a laundromat that had been closed for 6 years. The security camera showed him removing his hat before stepping through a dryer door into a bright dining room crowded with silhouettes. At dawn, the artifact on the intake table dried completely. The hand-shaped stain remained. Under magnification, the stain was made of names written in a script too small to be handwritten. Most were local. 7 belonged to registry personnel who had never visited the town. 1 belonged to a child scheduled to be born in November. Containment now consists of refusal. Do not answer unknown calls from the affected exchange. Do not enter rooms that appear warmer than the surrounding structure. Do not accept an invitation from a voice that knows where you used to hide. Above all, do not correct the entity when it uses the wrong name. A wrong name is a closed door. A true name, he is a handle. Final note. The artifact was moved to Cold Shelf 9 at 0612. At 0613, condensation formed inside the sealed case. At 0614, someone knocked from within the evidence locker. The knocking followed registry cadence. 3 short, 2 long, 3 short. That pattern means officer in distress. No officer was missing. At 0616, a final message appeared in the fogged glass. We kept your place too. The case remains open. The chair remains empty. The registry advises that empty chairs are not evidence of absence. Sometimes they are evidence of patience.